So in this introductory lesson, we covered basics of making courses. The basics are really important, so you should probably pay close attention. Alright, the mode we're in right now is called Course Maker. First, we'll explain how to place parts. Parts are the various elements you can place in a course. The menu that runs along the top of the screen is called the palette. This magnifying glass button is the best way to find parts. Pressing it will open the parts menu. The parts menu is where you choose which parts you want to put in your level. You can place a part in your level by moving the cursor to where you want to place it and pressing A. Alright, let's practice by placing a block. So placing parts. Good job with that block. Very creative. Keep in mind that there is a limit to how many parts you can place in a course. As you can see, parts you recently placed will appear along the palette for later use. You can quickly check out the parts you placed by running a test. Go ahead and press minus to test your level. If your test didn't go so well, try moving your parts around. To do that, press minus to return to edit mode. After placing parts in edit mode, it's good to quickly test to make sure they are set up right. Keep repeating the edit test process to make your course. Next, we'll explain how to erase parts. Press the arrow, the right arrow, and then move the cursor to this button and press A to enter erase mode. When in erase mode, move the cursor to a part and press A to erase it. Okay, let's mess around with erase mode for a little while. Okay. You monster, the block had a family. But don't worry, their pain is only temporary because we have Underdog on our side. Just press the button and this good boy will undo the last action you made. The undo dog. Now then, let's just go ahead and do our last action. So B. There. Yay, the block that you brutally erased is back. You're a hero, kind of. Moving right along, let's talk about some other tools that'll come in handy. Press ZL and ZR to activate multi-grab and copy. This enables you to move many parts at once and copy parts that you've placed. And now for something incredibly handy, the reset rocket. Press and hold this button to instantly destroy everything you've worked so hard to build. To be clear, it will erase all of the parts from your course so you can start fresh. Let's move somewhere with a lot of parts so we can test it out. Okay, go ahead and hold down the ignition button. Oh, erasing everything. 2, okay. 1, boom! Congratulations, you ruined everything. Well then, I guess that's all for the basics of Course Maker. Oh, but first I should probably tell you how to save. Sure, press this button to save or load levels that you've made. Save early, save often, I always say. Well, that's it for the basics of Course Maker. So move, dash, jump, high jump. Okay, press and hold B, higher jump. Jump while dashing, super jump. Super jump, jump as you start. Before we start making courses, I should probably explain what a course is. Courses, where I'm from, we call them levels. Last time I checked, this was Yamamura's dojo. We call them courses here. A course is a space that Mario travels across from the starting point all the way to the goal. On his way to the goal, he'll likely encounter various obstacles and enemies. Let's take a look. Courses always begin from the starting point. From here, Mario will head toward the goal. If he can make it all the way to the goal, he'll clear the course.
Oh yeah, Mario time!
In short, course is everything between the start point and the goal. That's the basic overview of courses, though I'm sure it's old news to anyone who's played a Mario game before. Have fun making levels! We have the workflow basics. If you haven't played Super Mario Maker before, you might not know the first thing about making a course. So we're going to show you how. Wait, we're gonna make an entire level? Like right now? Yes, we are going to create a simple course. Oh yeah, take it away, Kawamura. My name is Yamamura. Alright, let's start with some terrain, shall we? Next, we'll make some platforms that force Mario to jump. Okay, Nina, please test the course for me. Mario, jump! Jump, 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 jump. Easy peasy. Indeed, now I'll go ahead and build until I go. Creating a platform. A ledge. Some ledges. We have a lot of ground in there. How about an enemy or two to spice things up? Good idea, human. I'll add some Goombas and Koopa Troopas. And a moving platform. Okay, give it a shot, Nina. Jump, stomp, boom.
Oh yeah, Mario time!
Nice. It was definitely harder in the first half. Most enemies move, which forces players to have good timing. When making a course, think about how you want the player to feel during each moment. Placing and erasing parts is a snap, so unleash your inner mad scientist. So number 3 on inspiration. Sometimes making a level can feel overwhelming because there are just so many options. In times like that, it helps to have some kind of inspiration for the course you're making. So let's talk about different sources of inspiration. The area you see here is a simple series of platforms for Mario to jump on. So what can we do to make this area more exciting? Oh, place an enemy on the highest platform and maybe the enemy will drop down to challenge Mario. Very well, let's try putting an enemy there. Goomba. The single Goomba made this area slightly more challenging. Phew, one Goomba will wake me up when there's a real challenge. You want more enemies, do you? Yes, I do. There you go, Nina. Oh my gosh.
Oh
No! You're one sick bird. There's a lesson to be learned here. You must strive for balance in all things. As you may have guessed, I use stairs as my inspiration for this area. Now we'll change areas and look at another source of inspiration. Whoa, it looks like a house. Yes, mimicking the shapes of objects can be a great source of inspiration. Recognizable objects allow you to establish a theme and give you course a story. Yeah, like what if this house was turned into an enemy hideout? A fine idea. To make this feel like an enemy hideout, I added a variety of enemies and obstacles. As you can see, thinking about the story you want your course to tell makes it feel much more inspired. This area looks much more unique than an area that's nothing but ground, don't you think? Yeah, all of the pipes here make this area look awesome. Up until now, we've been talking about using inspiration to shape the terrain. But you can also develop a theme for your course by using primarily one type of object or enemy. In other words, instead of throwing a disconnected jumble of parts into your level, try using a few parts you like in creative ways. Exactly, there are no rules to making a course, but try to put thought into which parts you're using. Fixing mistakes. Sometimes when you're testing a course, you notice something that isn't quite right. Yeah, like all the time, but I always fix it right away. So let's talk about ways to fix mistakes. First, please play through this area, Nina. I'm all over it. Hey, the dash button on this controller is busted. There's no way I can make that jump. Yes, I sabotaged your controller for demonstration purposes. This gap is too wide for you to jump over. So how do you think we can fix this problem, Nina? You could start by buying me a new controller. Or we could just make the gap smaller. Testing each section and fixing it as you go is a good way to improve your course. When you come across a problem in your course, try fixing it in multiple ways to find a fun solution. Yeah, I still think fixing my controller is the best solution. Seriously, I just bought this thing. Indeed, every problem has multiple solutions. Problem is equal solution. When there's a problem, there's a solution. Testing. Okay, there's a path to the goal now. That means the level is finished, right? Not quite. Have you played it from the very beginning? Oh. Huh? I guess not. Give it a shot, Yamazaki. For the last time, my name is Yamamura. So far, so good. Uh-oh. The pipe is disconnected. Ah, someone call a plumber. I see we made a mistake when building the course. Let me fix this. There we go. Whew, much better. What is this about, Nina? Oh, that? Just a little a visual flair? Ooh! Whoa! I didn't realize it could be an alternate path. Sometimes players will do things you don't anticipate. When you're testing your course, try to get into the mind of the player and find alternate routes or routes. It's best to know all of the ways your course can be played so you can shape your vision. I was so focused on making the top path that I didn't realize players could take the bottom path. It happens to the best of us, and I actually found the bottom path to be more exciting. It just goes to show when you think you're done with your course, try playing it from the beginning with fresh eyes. Using parts, the terrain. In this lesson, we'll be talking about terrain parts. Let's start with ground, which is generally used as a foundation to walk on or for making walls. Let's see it in action. Placing terrain like so creates platforms that Mario has to jump on. But there's no rule saying that ground tiles have to be placed on the ground. You can also place them in the air to make floating islands. Right. Next, let's look at bridges, semi-solid platforms, and mushroom platforms. These parts are interesting because Mario can jump through them from below to get on them, but he can't get through them from above. Also, let me show you something. Nina, do you think you can get these 4 coins? The ones in the middle? Easy peasy. No, the walls are too high. I can't get out. Remember to keep in mind how high Mario can jump when designing your course. Okay. Using parts, blocks. The block and block of the question mark block parts are some of the most versatile and iconic tools in your Maker toolbox. Mario can walk on blocks and the question mark blocks, meaning you can use them as mid-air platforms. Let's try walking on some blocks. Next, I'm going to place some blocks, some question mark blocks. You can put various parts inside of a question mark block. Whatever you've placed inside the question mark block will pop out when Mario hits it. Oh yeah, let's stuff some parts in these blocks. Let's go Super Mushroom. Ah yes, that's a power-up item. Trampoline time, baby! Yes, you can put certain gizmos in them too. Now stick a Goomba in here. Okay, that's an odd choice, but last but not least, a green Koopa Troopa. I'm getting too old for this. Go ahead and play it, Nina. Try and stop me. It's kind of annoying when enemies come out of question mark blocks. When a player hits a question mark block, they expect to find something good inside. I recommend you avoid putting enemies in them unless you can think of a fun reason to do so. Finally, we cover the blocks. Mario can break blocks by hitting them while he's powered up. That's right, small Mario can break those suckers. Let's see what this means in practice. If you break a ledge made of blocks, you may not be able to clear the course. Think about that when designing. Try to avoid creating situations where the player has no option but to restart if they break the block. Using parts, enemies. Now I'll teach you about Goombas and Koopa Troopas. You probably already know this, but enemies like Goombas and Koopa Troopas will hurt Mario if they run into him. Let's observe a wild Goomba in its natural habitat. The Goomba isn't exactly a genius. It keeps moving forward when it reaches the edge of a platform, only turning around when it bumps into a wall. You can defeat a Goomba by stepping on it from above, like so. Next, we'll cover Koopa Troopas. Watch the movement of the green Koopa Troopa and the red Koopa Troopa. Okay, so the green Koopa Troopa just keeps moving like the Goomba, like the silly Goomba. The green Koopa Troopa keeps moving forward when it reaches the edge of a platform, whereas the red Koopa Troopa turns around when it reaches the edge. Jumping on the green Koopa Troopa or the red Koopa Troopa from above will turn it into a shell and cause it to stop moving. But if you leave them there for a while, they'll pop back out of their shell and start moving again. Mario can kick a Koopa shell by bumping into it from the side. It's also a good idea to think about terrain that allows players to use Koopa shells effectively. I wonder why the green ones and the red ones move differently. Do you think it's cultural or biological? Biological, they're just programmed to move that way. Anyway, there are many other types of enemies as well. Knowing the characteristics of each enemy type is important when placing them in your course. Enemies can create difficulty spikes in your course, so don't go overboard with them. Treat enemies like truffle salt, a little bit goes a long way. Using parts, gizmos. Or gizmos. In this lesson, we'll be talking about gizmos. Gizmos are handy for lots of things, including moving Mario around the level. We'll start with lifts. Let's look at the lifts in action. The moving lifts let you cross wide gaps and reach high places. Next, we'll cover the trampoline. Take a look. The trampoline is a great way to let Mario reach high places. Player actions can be different depending on the game style. There are some game styles that allow players to carry trampolines. You can also adjust the size and movement direction of many gizmos. The fire bar is one such gizmo. Now I'm going to adjust the length and direction of the fire bar rotation. Changing the fire bar length and direction can really affect the difficulty of getting past it. Super mushrooms. In this lesson, we'll talk about the super mushroom. If a small Mario munches on one of these, he can power up into Super Mario. Let's go get a super mushroom. There we go. Small Mario turned into Super Mario and broke the blocks, allowing him to advance through the course. Are you sure it's cool to just leave power-ups lying on the ground like that? Doesn't seem very sanitary. Good point. Power-up items should probably be put into blocks to make them feel special. With that in mind, I'll put the super mushroom in the question mark block. Alright, Nina, give this a try. Mama's feeling hungry for a super mushroom. Finally, there's one last thing I'd like you to keep in mind. Okay, Nina, transform into Super Mario and try to get all the coins in the next area. You don't have to ask me twice. I turned back into small Mario so I can break the block. And this stinking wall is too high for me to go back, so now I'm stuck forever. Nina's agony while entertaining is precisely why it's important to avoid creating areas that trap players. Coins. In this lesson, we'll discuss coins. Players are naturally drawn toward coins. When creating your course, don't hesitate to exploit the insatiable greed inherent in all human beings. What? I can't really blame you. Without coins, I couldn't purchase my delicious edamame. Let's just go ahead and place some coins. Coins everywhere. All over the course. Up, down, right and left. I placed them strategically to lure Mario toward places I want him to jump to. Nina, play this area and just do what comes naturally. Where am I? I remember seeing those shiny beautiful coins. The next thing I knew, I got Mario to the end. Why do you think that is? Because your Mario skills are second to none? No, I just like shiny stuff. Humans. Now I'll introduce another way to place coins. First, I'll put a cache of coins to lure the player where I want them to go. This will I wasn't done explaining. Huh? Where am I? I saw all those coins and just kinda blacked out. Why did you put all of those beautiful coins there? When you see this many coins lying around, you immediately want to pick them up, don't you? I placed these coins here to give the player a sense of satisfaction. Wow, coins are more powerful than I thought. Coins are powerful indeed, but you must use the power responsibly. If you place too many coins in your course, they'll lose their power, you know, inflation and all that. You should make the player work to get coins. Humans want that, which they cannot have after all. Tracks. Lesson number 12, tracks. What about them? When you want parts to move around your course, you use tracks. Oh, I love tracks. They're used to move stuff. I just said that. Let's begin by playing some tracks. You can extend the track by sliding in the direction that you want it to go. But you can cross two tracks over each other, so don't get any big ideas. Mr. Y, what kinds of parts can be placed on tracks? I'd say most parts can be put on tracks, though there are some Terry and Gizmo parts that can't. Let's see here. As you can see, I just put a lift on the track. Wait, so I can put almost anything on a track? So many possibilities. Yes, tracks open up all kinds of gameplay options, like making vehicles to transport players. Let's see it in action. Oh, I bet that would be more fun if you had to avoid enemies while you were grabbing the coins. Perhaps it all depends on how you want to make the player feel. Whoa! Here I added a grinder and created an area full of coins. Give it a go, Nina. On it. Jump, jump, and jump. Easy peasy. Combining tracks with hazards such as grinders can force the player to react in interesting ways. Seriously, even if you dodge the grinders, it doubles back after it reaches the end of the track? On that note, if you reach the end of a track, the grinder will fall off when it reaches the end. I'll show you what I mean. You're up, Nina. Whoa! Oh my gosh, why would you do that? I somehow managed to dodge both of the grinders, but they almost sliced me to bits. And there you have it. There are many ways to use tracks to liven up your courses. The more creative you are with tracks, the more you'll be able to terrorize players. Are we here to terrorize players? Players of Super Mario Maker 2, themes. Lesson number 13, themes. As you place parts in your course, there are many things you'll want to keep in mind. Like what? But before we get into that, we're going to have Nina play this course. Oh, okay. Go, Nina. Whoa.
Oh no!
Why do you hate me? For demonstration purposes, as you can see, this area is just packed full of enemies with no rhyme or reason. It's obvious that the maker of this course didn't have a clear vision. They mistook difficulty for challenge. I know what you mean. Sometimes when I'm making a level, I just want to stuff in every idea that pops into my head. Putting too many ideas in your course is an easy mistake to make. Chaos can be fun, but only if there's purpose behind it. Yeah, whichever bird made this level messed up bad. Yes, the course certainly seems to lack a theme. If you want to challenge the player, try to pinpoint a specific skill you want them to demonstrate and use only parts that fit that theme. That's an interesting way of thinking about it. Let's look at another example. Alright, another example. I used a Goomba theme for this course. You can make an entire course based on a single anime if you want. Try to limit yourself to a few parts and find creative ways to use them. On difficulty, lesson number 14. Since the dawn of time, philosophers, game designers, and seed caution engineers alike have asked the question, how hard is too hard? Everyone has their own opinion, but this area here feels fairly difficult to me. That is a lot of enemies. If we wanted to make this area easier, we could reduce the number of enemies. In 1, I reduced the number of Goombas. In 2, I changed the spinies into Goombas, which can be squashed from above. Then in 3, I increased the space between the Goombas. Changing the number and layout of enemies made this area easier. But don't make it too easy. I like a good challenge. I'll now introduce another way to change the difficulty of a course. Nina, if you would.
Oh no!
Oh, come on. This controller is busted. I totally jumped off that block. Yes, I'm sure it's the controller's fault. Let's just make this area easier for the controller. You're up, Nina. As you can see, Nina was able to make the jump that time. Nailed it! First try! Adjusting the size or weight of platforms can also change the difficulty. Keep that in mind. Lesson number 15 and last. Asking for feedback. Asking for feedback. Nina, would you mind playing through this course I'm working on? Anything for you, Yamamura. 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 So close, it's Yamamura.
Oh yeah, Mario time!
So what did you think of the course? Let's see. The part where I had to jump across all those tiny platforms was pretty tough. You mean this part? Yeah. If I wasn't a world-class Mario player, I probably wouldn't have made it. Right, world-class. I put these platforms close together so players can use small jumps to hop across them. Oh, one more thing. There was a part in the second half where you break the blocks to advance. Hold on, I'll move to that spot. If I didn't get the super mushroom and jumped up the semi-solid platform on the right while I was still small Mario, I would have gotten stuck forever. Good catch! I need to fix that. This is precisely why it's good to have other people play your course and give you feedback. Feedback from other players always makes your course better. Yeah, other players will never fail to notice things you didn't see yourself. Everyone has blind spots. When you think you're done with the course, ask your family or friends to play it and tell you what they think. And be sure to thank them for it. Isn't that right, Tebasaki? Oh my gosh. Diba? Oh, come on. Yamamura. His name is Yamamura. That's it for the maker lessons for a beginner.